Hello, this is Dan Explains, and I'm Dan. Last week, the Catholic Church tried one of its own archbishops for schism. The Catholic Church putting people on trial is definitely nothing new. The Church is infamous for the inquisitions. More recently, it seems the Pope just forgoes any trial and excommunicates the schismatic with a declaration. However, the Church does still have a court system, and they do still use it. Let me explain. On June 11, 2024, Archbishop Vigano was summoned to appear for trial at the Vatican on June 20th. Church trials are not a new thing. Most of the trials people have heard about in the past didn't actually occur at the Vatican, however. And the laws being exercised were actually not church laws, but the laws of the nations the heretics and schismatics were being tried in. So, for the most part, the inquisitions of the past weren't church trials, but more like trials performed at the behest of the Church. Everyone knows the capital of the Catholic Church is the Vatican in Rome. However, many aren't aware that the Vatican is actually a micro-city-state. Its 121 acres is all that's left of the Papal States. That's right, the Pope wasn't just the head of the Catholic Church, but was also the head of a secular state that encompassed most of central Italy. Today, the Vatican is still a sovereign nation, separate from the Italian government, with the Pope as its head. As such, it has its own laws and even its own courts. Although it doesn't have a prison, it does have a few jail cells to house people temporarily. With the exception of the laws that are deemed contrary to Catholic teaching, it adopts the laws of Italy, and if someone is convicted of an imprisonable crime, they are sent to an Italian jail, paid for by the Church. There have been quite a few criminal trials over the last 100 years or so, usually involving white-collar crimes. Most of the violent crimes that have happened there were tried in Italian courts, like the 1981 attempted assassination of Pope John Paul II. People accused of schism or heresy are tried by a civil court in the Vatican rather than a criminal court. Thankfully, capital punishment has been abolished for a long time, even in criminal cases. I'm not going to read the document released by the Vatican clarifying the accusations against Archbishop Vigano, but to sum it up, they're accusing him of rejecting the authority of Pope Francis and the validity of the last major council, Vatican II. Technically speaking, most of the people who call themselves Catholic break the first one of those two accusations at least. I did a video on it a while back, so I won't go into the detail here. But if you're Catholic and you say, I agree with the Church except, then you're a schismatic according to the laws of the Catholic Church. However, even the most outspoken schismatic probably won't have to worry about a Vatican trial for schism. If any action is taken at all, normally the Pope releases a declaration of excommunication rather than bothering with a trial, like Pope John Paul II did with Archbishop Marcel Lefebvre when he illicitly consecrated 4 new bishops for his order, the Society of St. Pius X, back in the 80s. Archbishop Vigano ruffled the feathers of Pope Francis and others in the Vatican hierarchy. So, I think they just want to make a bit of a show of it as a warning to others. However, Archbishop Vigano made that difficult by not showing up for his own trial. More on that in a moment. The big controversy here is that Archbishop Vigano is considered a conservative bishop, and he gets put on trial for schism. Well, you have whole nations full of schismatic bishops and cardinals, like the nation of Germany, where they directly and brazenly ignore the instructions of the Pope, and the Pope does nothing, at least that we can tell, to stop them. Actually, doing the opposite, going so far as to reject their resignations after they get caught up in scandals. The difference with those bishops and Archbishop Vigano is they're liberals. Their schismatic actions promote liberal heresies and innovations. The big question is, were the accusations against him legitimate? Well, let's look at what Vigano has to say about it. Well, yeah, so he didn't even show up because he doesn't recognize the authority of Pope Francis because of the heresies promulgated by Vatican II make him an illegitimate pope. I think that Vigano's letter is pretty much all the evidence they need to excommunicate him. I think Archbishop Vigano knows this probably means he's going to die an excommunicated man, but hopes that a future pope will clear his name. Similar things have happened in the past. Archbishop Marcel Lefebvre, who I mentioned earlier, recently had his excommunication lifted, even though he had already died. Heck, the bishops that caused the Great East-West Schism had their excommunications lifted almost 1,000 years after the schism. And they're still in schism, so trials for schism and heresy can and still do happen. The punishment may have less physical repercussions for the accused, but no Catholic wants to die in the state of being a declared schismatic or heretic. So, please pray for the Church, Vigano, and Pope Francis. Thank you for watching. If you like this video and other topics ranging from theology to science, please press the like button, subscribe to my channel, and ding the bell to get notified when I post new videos. Also, please support me on Patreon to get extra content and special perks. Link in the description. The more people support me, the more time I can dedicate to making videos like this one. So, until next time, have a great week.